Hey guys, we've got some awesome quail on tap to do for you today. These are semi-deboned. See how they lay down flat? They've deboned these things and they're awesome. You know, if your grocery doesn't have them, you can order them direct from Texas Quail Farms and they will ship these to you. Today, we're gonna stuff them with a house-made sausage that I got made at Whole Foods. You know, it's a pork sausage. You know, and then I had them put little finely chopped jalapenos in it to give it some fire on that back end. I love that in Texas, obviously we love that stuff. I got some smoked Gouda cheese and I've got some cheddar cheese and a little bit of extra fat. You know, you've got to be very careful with these birds because as you can see, this is just wafer thin. As you can see my finger through that. So be very careful with the skin. And I just start with it down here just like that. And then grab a hunk of this and try to make it into a cylinder. And what that does is just kind of allows you not to have to mess with the bird an extra amount of time and tear any of that skin. So don't get too much, but as you can see, that's a pretty good amount. That would be kind of like a breast in itself. Let's see if that'll fit. If it doesn't, back off of it, don't force it. We can always come back and put a little more and just easily push it in like this. Don't overstuff it. And I've got just the right amount, I think, on this one, and that's gonna be a really good bird. Now I just take my fingers and just continue to push. If you see the skin starting to tear, stop. Because that's gonna be, you know, where you start losing moisture in the bird. And we don't wanna lose that because that's what makes these things special. They are a very sensitive little bird. They're kind of like a pheasant. They're gonna dry out real quick if you don't have this. And look at that, I think we got the right amount. So what I do is I put it down, you know, and then I just flatten it out and make sure that it's got a good shape to it. You don't want to have any crazy humps and mountains and stuff. The next thing I like to do is tuck the wings. I just think it makes a better presentation, and I just think it allows the bird to cook a little more evenly, exposing this part a little bit right here. So all you do is take it with your fingers and just twist it. You can do this with a turkey too at home. You know, you probably already do a little bit of this, but if you don't, that's kind of the trick on that. Then lay it down like that and see how it's got the tuck and everything, and it just makes a great presentation. So everything's intact, we're ready to go on to the next step. And what I do, guys, there's a couple of different techniques you can do on this, is I prefer bacon grease. And this is Applewood bacon. I love Wright's bacon. You know, they have just a great, I mean, it's just quality product, and I use top-notch products on everything. You know, if you don't have that, you don't want to go to that trouble of getting some bacon grease. There's different products out there that, like Bacon Up, you know, it's already triple filtered bacon grease. You can use that, you can buy it. You know, or cook your own down like I did, or you can just use canola oil, you know, and just all I do is take a little bit and just wipe down every, you know, surface of the bird. Make sure you get these little wings and stuff, everything. It helps it brown, cooks evenly, obviously a little bit of flavor with that Applewood bacon going on. So that's all you've got to do is just kind of wipe it down like this. You know, Texas barbecue is something special, obviously. You know, we come from the land of cattle and cows and cowboys and country people and you know, everybody's, you know, dads, you know, grilled or barbecued growing up. And, you know, it's just a part of our culture, you know, and you know, everybody's culture, you know. I mean, you know, Texas is a melting pot of all kinds of cultures too, but they come for the barbecue as well. One thing I do like to use to start out is a salt, pepper, garlic rub. You know, that's just kind of a base flavor on just about every flavor profile out there. And any kind of barbecue, birds, whatever. I mean, who doesn't love what I call SPG? So that's what I start out with. I just like to do a high sprinkle on it like this. I like to grab the legs, if you can see what I'm doing, and just spin them. And that way you get a little even amount, because that's one of my favorite parts to eat on the bird is the whole leg quarter part. And now just grab it like that, and I'm gonna hold it up. See how light I went? And then flip it over and do the other side. So you've already kind of spun the legs, so you know that they're good. So just finish the rest of the body and breast area. And that's it on that. So that finishes out your SPG layer, salt, pepper, garlic again, if you missed that. Then I go to my head country, which is my main rub that I use on everything when I'm catering back in Austin, Texas. You know, this stuff is savory, it's got some herbs in it, it's got a gorgeous paprika color. You know, at this point, that's what I'm going after. I want some color on that bird. And we just start with a real light layer. And just get a little, you know, if you're seasoning pop it. Always shake your seasoning up because these things settle at different layers. So always do that. Same thing on the bird. Spin your legs. Spin the legs. Make sure you got seasoning on every little piece. So there's those little tricky little wings, and they're just hard. You can just kind of manhandle it around or girl handle it around. You know, it was probably about a decade ago. You know, what I did is I saw a gentleman over there tasting some stuff, and he had some meatballs in the sauce, and you know, one of my favorite things to eat at Christmas parties and everything. So I went over and introduced myself, and the gentleman's name was C.R. Head and stuff, and it was Head Country Barbecue Products or whatever, and tasted some meatballs. I'm like, damn, this is a good sauce. You know, ever since then, you know, these guys have been a great partner of mine, and I've used them ever since, and that's all I use in my catering in Austin, Texas. So if you had my catering, then you've had Head Country Barbecue Products. So, and then flip it over and finish your bird. So as you can see how light I'm going, you know, and being very particular. I mean, ribs and brisket, you know, I'll cover it up. We're building a bark. On this, you just really want to add a little bit of flavor and just have a light seasoning on it so you get a little bit of that pop in every bite. So really that's it right there. You know, this bird is essentially ready to go to the grill, and that's gonna be our next step that I'm gonna show you guys, and we'll go from there. So it's time to go to the grill with these birds. So I'm gonna position them on these grill grates, which are awesome products, just best thing since sliced bread. Just where you get grill marks going across, you know, the birds or whatever. I'm not going for hatch marks on these across it, you know, diamond pattern or anything. Just one hatch mark going across. It looks good on these birds, and just kind of position your legs out like that. It's time to glaze. You know, this is a product that a lot of us competition guys use. It's put out by Texas Pepper Jelly, Craig Sherry out of Houston. And, you know, it's just a real runny, glazy deal. That just, this one is the bird bath, you know, and it has some mango and stuff. He's got all kinds of pineapple, and you can find your flavor. He's got a ton of different ones. You know, this one, you know, it's sugar. It's going to burn down there, but man, it's sticky goodness. You know, this one's got that little habanero flakes in it. And just kind of paint it on, just paint every little orifice, you know, of the bird, the sides, especially all the legs and every place that you're going to want to get a little nibble from. We're going to put it on here. We're going to let it kind of caramelize instead of being wet. You know, let it set up a little bit, kind of like you do on your sauces on all your ribs and everything, you know. I mean, I love a good wet rib too, but I like for it to set a little bit so it's just not sloppy. As you can see, it puts a great sheen on them. And now that sugar is going to caramelize, you know, and it's going to just make every bite delicious. Make sure, again, get those legs, because those are just yummy. They're painted up. I think we are done, folks. Put the lid back on. Time to caramelize. And what I do is I call just cutting these things, and it just turns them into a little quail lollipop, and I'll spread these out to show you here in just a second. So just take your knife. You know, it's good to have a little bit of serration on your knife. You can use a slicing knife too, but I like serration just a little bit. Ooh. Man, that's good. I think I'll eat some more.